Hey, welcome back to DieCash Cars. So first production video here for 2023, and it's with a heavy heart that it's this topic here, but Mr. Kenblock, rest in peace. We just got news yesterday, so January the 2nd, that the man, the myth, the legend passed away in a snowmobile accident. It's very unfortunate. I know he influenced the automotive industry. I mean, with all the Gymkhanas, all his rally races and wins. I mean, his clothing line or the cars that he drove that were so iconic. Every car that he drove was one-off and spec to his exact dimensions. Mr. Block was also a huge influence on myself as well too, for the fact that he did drive on the Subaru rally team for USA. He won his first rally race with a Subaru STI. I mean, I looked up to him so much. I recall back in college, even as a broke college kid, I mean, I pulled out the $100 to get this Ken Block Subaru rally racing jacket. I mean, I wanted to be just like him. I wore his hat, I wore his shoes, his t-shirts, I played his video games. As soon as I graduated college, I mean, the first car that I bought was a 2011 Subaru Impreza WRX. Then in 2011, I found this bad boy on the pegs, just looking at the Hot Wheels. No clue that it was being released, but what an awesome tribute to Mr. Block. I mean, you got the Blockhead logo on top. I mean, this whole entire cast was dedicated to the man. I mean, just a sweet car, wide body Ford Fiesta. It's got that cold mold base, which I don't believe Hot Wheels has ever done ever again, but just got the multicolor, just gives the car a lot of character. And they did recolor this, so it came out in black. And after the fact, I went back and found the white one as well too. And this one also has a cold mold base, this time black and gray. One variation that can be found on the white recolor is that the base does have a variation. So you can see the top one has the cold mold with the gray and black base. And then there is also a later release that just featured a full black base as well too. So if you're out there looking for these cars right now, which I know a lot of collectors are, be worth just looking to see what base variation you have. So the big news right now within the community is the prices on these Ken Block Ford Fiestas. Again, first edition for 2011. Before Ken Block's passing, they were selling for around that $20 range. I've actually been watching this car. It's actually a cast that I collect, as you can see. And I've noticed that the value has jumped from 10 to 20 over the last year and a half here. And all of a sudden, overnight, after his passing, they shot up to 80, 90, right now selling for about $100 a piece for either the white or the black. I've seen the pairs of both color variations sell for around $150. There are currently some auctions going on right now at the time of recording. They're still going strong at about $75 to $80 a piece. But the real question is, should you be buying these Ford Fiestas at that $70 to $100 price range? And the simple answer is no, guys. Don't let your emotions take control and make you feel like you need to purchase this car. That fear of missing out, that FOMO of you gotta buy it now or it's gonna be $1 million later. We've seen this before. I mean, unfortunate events where celebrities and influencers pass away and all of their items tend to skyrocket in price. I mean, case in point, perfect example, Paul Walker, when he had passed, this Fast and Furious Toyota Supra, first edition for 2013, again, pretty much like for like comparison. This shot up to $50, $60 a piece just for the sentiment of this car and what it stood for in association with Paul Walker. And right now it's come right back down to that $20 to $30 mark. I mean, you could say that prior to Paul Walker's passing, I mean, this car was probably no more than a $10 at the most if you're lucky, and probably less than that. So it definitely went up in value with the passing, but again, I don't think that's something that we should really account for. I mean, it should really be on the car, your interest in Fast and Furious, your interest in following of Paul Walker, not so much the fact that a certain individual passed away and you feel like the value is going to go up, right? I think there's other reasons that make this car grow in value. So again, that $25 to $30 price point, you know, that is a fair value assessment on this Toyota Supra, and I would say the same could be said about the Ford Fiesta Ken Block Edition. I think that is a fair price to sell and buy this car at, just given our past history. Now, there are some anomalies out there, right? So you do have the Honda S2000. When Ryu Asada passed, I recall this car was only selling for like $40, $50 at the most. And then after Ryu's passing, this car shot up well over $100. And even today, this car is still selling at that $120 range. But again, it's a super treasure hunt, so it kind of makes sense. And the overall market for supers, especially the older ones from the early 2010s, they've all definitely gone up in value and rarity as the collected community just grows in general. So I don't think you can really pinpoint Ryu's passing associated to the value increase on these cars. Another good one for you guys is the SUK convention car that was a direct replica of Ryu Asada's yellow S2000 back when he was still with us. I mean, that car, I recall, you know, back in 2018, you could get it for $500, which, you know, is no small amount, but right now it's well over $1,000, right? So again, you could chalk that up to just being a convention car and being very limited in release, not so much the passing of Ryu Asada. Because if you look at just the mainline releases of the Honda S2000, specifically the first edition ones that were yellow and red from way back in the day, Ryu Asada's first S2K releases, I mean, they're all currently right now in that $10 to $15 range. So again, when it comes to the Ford Fiesta, the prices are definitely not going to be sustained at this $100 price point. I know Ken Block was a big deal, huge influencer on the automotive industry, but I don't believe that these prices are going to stay where they're at. So if you're a collector, if you had any kind of following of Ken Block and you do want these Ford Fiestas in your collection, whether it's the white or the black, I mean, definitely just give it time. I mean, these cars are always going to be out there. They're main lines. Yes, they are a little older, so it does add to the difficulty of finding them, but it's not going to be impossible, guys. So that's my word of caution. That's my PSA for you guys. Don't buy into the hype, the emotion right now. I mean, it's still very raw. Just give it some time. The prices will level out. And who knows? I mean, this is a perfect candidate for a thrift store, a Hot Wheels meet find, where I'm sure you can get way better deals, even better than secondary market pricing right now. Again, it's a mainline, so I can't imagine somebody wouldn't just slap a $1 or $2 sticker on this and sell it that way as well too. The most important thing, guys, is just keeping the Block family in your prayers. You know, just remembering everything awesome that Ken Block brought to the automotive community. I'm curious to see if Hot Wheels does anything else with Ken Block and any of the other cool cars that he's brought into the world for us. But that's what I got for you guys today. Like and subscribe. Ken Block, rest in peace. I'll see you guys next time on DieCash Cars.